good afternoon, good evening, dead of night it may be for some of you. We are here on the Race Statistics channel, and this is our coverage for the Belgian sprint race. Again, this is Grash with you, with giving you live coverage. Two things have we just have been updated since we last met. Basically, Colapino, we know he's going to be. They broke Parc Ferme. And ultimately, he is basically going to be a pit lane start. Gasly looks like he's going to be a pit lane start now. Basically, what we know that there's an issue with water, a water pump issue, or something in that regards. That's what was reported on F1 TV. And so they're working on trying to get him that fixed to send him out for the race. So, yeah, that's again, that's why Alpine is in the stands, why they're in the garage right now, and everyone else is on the grid at the moment. We had decision documents yesterday, and it is completely boring. They did say that ultimately Yuki and Russell were driving solely, but they had reasons. And then there was the impeding with Gasly and Yuki, and basically Yuki says like, no big deal. He gave me a tow. It was actually impeding, and so yeah, so nothing happened with the documents. So yeah, so one of the things on Colapino's car, they replaced the rear wing for a different spec during Parc Ferme yesterday and today, and it was repaired. It was replaced without approval, so he's now a pit lane start. Let's see, anything else has been? Yeah, nothing regarding Gasly right now in terms of documents. So, but we are about 3 minutes away. Are we? No. Yeah, 3 minutes away. Three and a half minutes away. No, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, timer's off by like two minutes, boss. 1 minute maybe. We're 4 minutes to the top of the hour, and that's when the sprint session starts. So. See, last chance for predictions. Who will lead the race after lap one? Given that Oscar's leading, I'm predicting he's probably gonna stay in the lead. He's fearless. He is literally the new Iceman. I mean, what's the better ice joke to make? He's like Elsa, maybe. Those are our Disney fans. Yeah. But yeah, no. I don't see Max getting past him for some reason. Oh yeah, Max is on used tires. Oh, this is interesting. They're saying that Max is on a used set of medium tires, and Oscar's starting on a fresh set. So yeah, I was trying not to compare him to Reich again. Um, so, but again, this is again the sprint race. So rules, things to be aware about. It's only 15 laps. As a result, no pit stop is necessary. So they're all on medium tires, except Colapino is listed being on soft tires. Gasly will not take part. So over the Williams radio, there's just said that to Carlos Sainz that Gasly will not take part. That's interesting. Can Lewis get points today? You need small miracle, to be quite honest. So as things stand right now, Colpino is a pit lane start in 20th, and Antonelli is 19th. But that could move up if Gasly's not completely out. Hamilton is 18th, Hulkenberg 17th, Albon is 16th, Stroll is 15th, Alonso starts 14th, Russell 13th, Tsunoda is 12th, Lawson's 11th, Borletto is 10th, Isaac is 9th. Right now, we're looking at what's going on with Gasly. He's right now in the garage getting worked on. It was reported that there's a water issue leak or something going on that they're repairing. He is supposed to be on the grid at 8th. Not. Behrman qualified 7th, Sainz 6th, Ocon 5th, Leclerc 4th, Norris is 3rd, and then our front row is Verstappen 2nd, Oscar 1st. So. The prediction. Current poll, where will Max be after 5-6 lap 1? And then who do you think will win today on the predictions over on Twitch? See a poll over here. Who will see in the sprint race right now? 51% are going with Oscar, 16% are Leclerc. Verstappen is 24%, and Norris at 8%. So we are now coming to time now. And formation lap has started. What is Alpine doing? Well, Gasly, we know, is in the garage, and we know that Colpino is going to be a pit lane start. They changed his back wing without approval. We don't believe right now it's potential that Gasly may not take part in the sprint race. We will see. He's definitely going to end up being a pit lane start. If Gasly does not pull out of the garage, he's probably not starting. He will be did not start for the sprint. Again, I want to thank everyone here who's live with us right now. Again, whether you're in Twitch chat, you are in YouTube chat, or on another platform. And to those of you who are watching after the fact, Gasly's not starting. The wheels are not on the car. They haven't fixed it, and he's not in the car. So this is not a good start for the weekend for Alpine right now. Good, decent qualification basically got tossed out with the car not being in shape to go out. So Oscar right now coming around. He's in the third sector, turn 17. Now going to 18, 19, and then to line up. I'm surprised that the timing chart has not dropped Gasly down to at least 19th. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to have rain today for the sprint race. It's looking good and clean and bright like it was yesterday. So Oscar coming into his pit box now. Can someone give me a good site name to watch this race? Yeah, F1 TV is the best place to watch. To be quite honest, I'm not promoted to say that. I use it. I love F1 TV. If you're in the UK, then it's going to be Sky Sports. US going to be ESPN Plus for right now, and they are lined up. And we're getting Colpino through the pit lane right now. Here we go. The green, they're waving. Well, he's not really waving the green flag this time. He's really holding it up. And the lights are turning on. 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are off. And Oscar's got a good jump on Max. Max is wheel to wheel, front to back wheel, but Oscar's got it ahead cleanly, and they're lined up. So we've got a good line with Oscar, Max, Norris, Leclerc in that order. There goes Max around the outside. He gets a clean way around. So Max is leading right now, and Leclerc has got ahead of Norris. So Ocon moves up to 5th. Sainz is 6th. Behrman 7th. Isaac is 8th. Barlow 9th, and Lawson 10th. So Isaac is the last person in the points right now at 8th. Again, 8 points for leading P1, down to 1 point to P8 for the sprint race. One of the things that they're saying on F1 TV is that Max is his car is more trimmed out than the McLaren's. That maybe have given him a benefit at the start of the race. Right now, any action going on? They are very close with each other right now. Again, Gasly retired. He didn't even start the race, to be quite honest. Right now, Oscar's right behind Max by about half a second. Leclerc has backed off about a second off of Oscar, and Norris is in about half a second of Leclerc. But there's definitely starting to pull apart right now. Oscar definitely with Max. Yeah, I'm surprised that with the tire choice, basically Max and both Clerk are on used medium tires, and Oscar and Lando started on new tires. Pluhar point, Max has a speed advantage on the straight in the quality. So in the straights you're talking about are basically in sector 1 and sector 3. And we know that Max has had an advantage in those sectors in practice and quality. We know that I think Lando and Oscar had an advantage in the second sector. And that's basically you pick one of the two sectors to go. You either go with the first and third sector advantage or you go with the second sector advantage. Oscar's about 1.5 to 2 car lengths back off of Max, depending where he's at. And and Oscar is following Max very well. And it could be right now he's just either waiting for Max to make a mistake, or he's playing with the toe off of Max, getting into the sprint ring. Just saw Oscar just dump what looked like water over him. It is hot today. Air temperature is 20.7 degrees Celsius. Air track temperature 32.8. Humidity is 64. That's relatively high, but again, to be expected with rain at any moment. It seems like at Spa, but right now the clouds are not. They're light wispy. Nothing that's going to drop any water on anyone, unless you're George, maybe. But that's another matter. Gasly is on track, apparently. He's 2 laps down. That's interesting to put him out on track. So what happened to the Gasly? We know that there was an issue with the car with like a water pump issue. And that's why he was in the garage. Yeah, I don't know why you would put Gasly out if you didn't make the start. I don't know. Why would you? Oh, here we go. So Norris just passed Leclerc to regain third position. Now they've dropped back 2 seconds from the fight that Oscar and Max is doing. So the question is, can Norris make that jump from Leclerc back to Oscar? Yeah, no real movement. Stroll has gone ahead of Alonso, and Hamilton has gone ahead of Hulkenberg. But ultimately, I mean, like all from Isaac all the way down, for most part, those changes in position are mostly because Gasly did not start the race. He's effectively 2 laps down. Kobe Gale YT F2 session for Gas, Gasly. I don't know why you're calling him Gas Pookie, but it's Gasly. That may be the only reason why you would send him out at this point, is to have him run a program like it would be FP2. And he's out in clean air, so that makes sense. That's the only reason that makes sense. Testing if the water pump holds. That's the other reason you'd. Yeah, getting data for race or quality later today. That's another reason. So yeah, that may be why he's out, is to get data. And now he's passing Hulkenberg. Again, we lap 5, 11 laps to go in this race. Enjoying the scenery. I don't think you know how little they actually can see in those cars. Looking at, he's doing a 148 lap time. So is his teammate. That's not. That's 2 seconds off. Let's like the lead with Max and Oscar and Norris. Why is Leclerc slow? He's not slow per se. Oscar's being asked about how the tire's doing. He's saying he's doing all right. Again, he has the advantage on Max by 3 laps. Max started the race on a 3 lap used medium tire. Same with Leclerc. So Lando managed to get it past him. He's now only 1.8 back. He's only gained back 2 tenths. Yeah, he's only gained about 2 tenths on his teammate. Though the best lap so far still relies with Oscar. People asking, hoping Oscar overtakes Verstappen. Got the Max fans, the Maxiteers as they call themselves in chat. Gap right now is only 5:44 right now, so just over a half a second between Oscar and Max. Oscar is obviously getting DRS each time going around on Max. First right now has fastest second sector. Did a 46.432. Max dominating his race? Not necessarily. He's not dominating though. He's not dominating. I would say he would be dominating if he had pulled a gap more than a second or 2 seconds away from Oscar. Just looking right now in terms of lap times. Again, Lando did a 145.9 last lap. Oscar did a 146.067. Max did a 146.052. And Leclerc did a 146.518. So right now, after the top three, Leclerc, Ocon, Sainz, Behrman, Isaac have all dropped off 1 second to 2 seconds each. Almost Leclerc and Ocon 2.7 off. Norris has made up 8 tenths of that 2 second gap that he had earlier. Again, we are on lap 8 with 8 laps to go. People are asking what happened to Gasly. Gasly had a water pump issue, and he was in the garage at the start of the race, and he came out with 2 laps already started. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that you got concussion of black eye. Hope you're okay. Yeah, Oscar, I didn't. Yeah, Gasly didn't retire. He's actually out on track, which is 2 laps down. He is out in open air, as it's amazing as that sounds. Let's go on slick tires. I mean, he's on a soft tire. They're all on slick tires, Bolga. The mediums are a slick tire. Why is Max having no DRS, but Oscar is having DRS? It's because Max is leading, and Oscar is the chaser. So to get DRS, you have to be behind someone within a second to get DRS. As we say that, Lando is about 1.1 within 1 second of Oscar. So he is potentially in play to get DRS on Oscar, which will help him get up closer to him. Oscar's been again 0.5, 0.6, 0.7 behind Max for the last 2 laps. Ooh. So Norris has got into DRS range of Oscar right now. So 0.8, 0.9 behind him. Lap 9, 7 laps to go in this lap. They're on the middle of that lap right now. We're looking at lap times 146.3, 146.2, 146.0 for the top 3. So Norris getting an advantage on the other 2. Cortec in Twitch chat says Verstappen will win. Well, we still got 7 laps to go. And this is why we watch. Thank everyone in Twitch chat, everyone in YouTube chat. Those of you who are watching on TikTok or other platforms, thank you as well. And of course, those of you who are watching after the fact on demand, thank you for picking, following the sprint race with us. 6 laps to go right now. They just the top 3 just went over the line and have just passed turn 1. Again, Max is leading. Oscar's 0.6 behind. And Norris is 0.6 behind Oscar. Leclerc has dropped back 4 seconds from Lando. Ocon is 5th. Sainz 6th. Barron 7th. Isaac is 8th. And I don't see the only thing that could change in the top 8 is maybe Isaac maybe passes Barron. He's within range. Borlell has dropped back 1.1, and so he's not in DRS range. We might see Sainz and Ocon within a second of each other. So those are our little worlds which we are seeing right now. Now, over the last lap, Max did a 146.5, Oscar did 146.4, and then Lando did 146.1. So Verstappen getting an advantage, slight advantage. No, he's losing. That makes no sense. The lap times don't make sense because Oscar should have gotten like a 10th on him and Norris more. Norris is definitely charging. It is definitely a world we've got Max, Oscar, Norris. I mean, if Max makes a mistake, a rare mistake from Max Verstappen, the McLarens are ready to pounce. We're pointing out that the Haas is better than the Williams in Sector 1. That's interesting. That's an interesting observation there. Here comes Oscar. He's going for a move on Max. Doesn't get it, but he's still stalking him. Max says he can't brake on the peak. I wonder what that code is for. Is it going to rain on the main race or qualifying? There's potential for rain tomorrow. What happened to Gasly? Gasly basically was in the garage at the start of the race There's a fuel pump issue, and basically lost 2 laps. And he's now came out on lap 3. Basically, he's been 2 laps down. He will be 2 laps down for this entire race. He is out in clean air, so that will be his benefit. We suspect that Alpine right now is using Calipino and Gasly to run programs to get data for quali or with the race itself tomorrow. Why am I an Alpine brand bro? That's a good question. Why are you an Alpine fan? I don't get me wrong. I mean, had Gasly not had a car issue, he would have started 8th on the grid. He was in the points to start this race. So, but also, you've got the Alpine investors like several sports athletes and Ryan Reynolds have invested into Alpine. So there's that. Alpine being like a rare Pokemon. Only Max can pressure this McLaren. I mean, yeah, he is right now. He's giving them a run for their money. He did get that pass on Oscar, and Oscar has not had a chance to pass him back. He's stayed back. He's been back, and he hasn't been charging on Max. And I'm wondering if that's been a tactical decision to wait for a pass in the next 2 laps or 3 laps, or on the last lap itself. Oscar definitely does have a higher advantage on Max, because Max started on a 3 lap old used medium tire. Okay, what you guys are saying in chat right now? Any questions you might have? Radio 4, is Max trying to save a medium for tomorrow's race? It could be either for tomorrow's race or qualification today. Again, we've got 3 laps to go. We're coming around. We're on lap 13 right now. We're coming around 13 to 14 right now. Max still leading Oscar. Again, been as high as 0.9. It's been as low as 0.5, 5.5, 5.55 in terms of a gap. Norris is about 0.8 behind Oscar right now. So every time they're coming to 18, 19 in this group now. Clerk just hitting 18 as Max goes across the line. Last lap, Max did a 146.578. Oscar did 146.489, and Norris did a 146.7. So advantage Oscar by a little bit. Oscar still just back 0.6 as they hit the DRS zone. Is he going to get close enough? He's going to get within 0.3 and going into turn 6 and 7. We are on the second to the last lap of this race, lap 14 and 15. Max still holding on as they come around turn 7, 8, 9, 8. It's like 9 to 10. Are they allowed to change the car set between the sprint and race? Yes, absolutely. When they get out of the sprint, um, basically have like a couple of hours where they're not in Parc Ferme, and then they go into quali, and then they go back into Parc Ferme after quali. So after the sprint qualifications, cars are in Parc Ferme for the sprint race. When the sprint race ends, they're out of Parc Ferme, can do whatever they want with the car, and then you go into quali, and then go into Parc Ferme overnight for the race the next day. So it's okay because when they implemented the sprint race a few years ago, they did the qualification on Friday. I'm trying to remember, they did they did qualification, I believe, on Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon was the sprint race, and the order of the sprint race then basically set the order for the Grand Prix grid the next day. Oscar is stalking Max right now. Yeah, Oscar's probably lost the last. Again, we're on the last lap now. They're coming around turn 7, 11 to 12. Oscar had a potential to maybe go for Max and didn't fully go for it, and it's going to be basically Max first, Oscar second, and Lando third. Leclerc is now 8 seconds back, and then there's another 4 seconds to Ocon Sainz, another 5 seconds to Behrman. Isaac is behind him. See if Isaac makes a move on him. And here they come to the line right now. And Max is winning this sprint race, getting all 8 points. Oscar's going to get 7 points. Norris is going to get 6 points. So Oscar's going to gain a point on Norris in the championship fight. Oh, wow, they're just saying that Max has 12 sprint wins, which is the most in the sprint history. Again, they started under his as Max. Clerk has come in fourth, Ocon fifth, Sainz sixth, Behrman seventh, and Isaac eighth. Those are the only ones who are going to gain points. Borrello is out of the points in ninth, Lawson 10th, Tsunoda 11th, Russell 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Alonso 14th, Hamilton 15th, Albon 16th, Antonelli 17th, Alkenberg 18th, Colpino 19th. Again, Gasly was 2 laps. He's probably 3 laps down specifically now because he came in early. So he was 2 laps down after starting the race, 2 laps down. Amir Engine, welcome to the family, my friend. Who will win today? Oh, I picked Max Verstappen over in Twitch chat, and I've picked up points. This is gonna come basically gonna be the end of our coverage for the sprint race. Again, our podium is Max first, Oscar second, Norris third. Again, for everyone here at the Race Statistics channel, this has been Grash doing the coverage. We will be back, I believe, in about 2.5 hours. I believe it's 2.5 hours between now to the start of quali for the Grand Prix tomorrow. So For those of you who are in YouTube chat, you'll be brought to the next stream for on YouTube for the quali session. For those of you who are in Twitch, just keep the window open. You'll be fine. We will be back. It will, when we start streaming, you'll be ready to go. I know on Facebook there will be a post specifically for that you'll need to go to. I don't know what TikTok does. My apologies. I'm not allowed to use TikTok. It's complicated. It's all you need to understand. Again, for everyone here at the Races channel, this is our finishing our coverage up now for the sprint race again. Max Verstappen first, Oscar second, Norris third. This has been Grash. I will see you again for qualifications in a few hours. Take care. See you soon.